Today's the first day of the Democratic National Convention, and as you're scrolling through social media and other online platforms to find information on candidates, you really want to make sure that what you're looking at is real.
Yeah, because artificial intelligence and deep fakes are becoming more common in the political landscape. To explain why this is a concern ahead of the election, we're talking with Chief Technology Officer at UneeQ, Tyler Merritt. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so start, Tyler, just by telling us what UneeQ is.
Yes, UneeQ makes digital humans. We pair our characters with language models so people can talk in a very natural way. We have applications in education, commerce, insurance, healthcare, etc.
So you're in the business of artificial intelligence.
Definitely.
And can you tell people what deep fakes are and where they would maybe come across one?
Deep fakes are generated content. We take a source video, audio recording, or image and change it in some way. This can be very fun for people to take a recording of their own face and make a character from the past look like they're talking. But as you're alluding to with the convention and the election year coming up, they can also be used in ways that we wouldn't want people to be confused by.
Yeah, I mean, so you're kind of explaining that UneeQ uses them in ways that are helpful and useful and fun and creative, but why can they be dangerous ahead of the election?
Well, people need to trust what they're seeing is original. If a candidate is stating a position on an issue, we all implicitly assume that that is the candidate's real opinion. If somebody can take a video or image or audio recording of a candidate and change that in some way so that the message is not what that candidate originally intended, obviously that would be a big problem. We all assume that this broadcast, for instance, is live, and we assume that I'm really here talking and you both are in the studio asking questions. If in any way the people didn't trust, the contract would be broken, and all of a sudden it's not news.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I love it when people who are working in artificial intelligence are also giving these warnings, like you realize the magnitude of what this can do. Tell people about how this could potentially jeopardize our election.
Absolutely. If you see a candidate at a rally and somebody can take that video and then put other things in the audience in the background, change the way that they're dressed or what they were doing, that would lead to mass confusion. And we don't want chaos in an election. I believe that every candidate has the right to represent their views fairly and in the original way that they intended. So deep fakes, as in the name fake, it's going to be something that's not real and probably does not represent that candidate. People need the ability to evaluate for themselves if what people are saying going to elected office is what they really intend, what they mean to do. And up until now, we've all assumed that when we see somebody giving a speech at a lectern, for instance, that's really them.
Yeah.
So we don't want deep fakes, and what we do is quite different from that.
So explain to us, Tyler, how people might be able to recognize some of these and stop and slow down before you hit share, like what they can look at or look for in these pictures or video.
Sure. For audio recordings, people have natural interrupt patterns. They say and ah and and ha. And if you hear a recording on a podcast or a telephone call and the voice is just too perfect, there's no stumbling over words, there's no pauses, that can be a sign that it was generated content. If you see an image and look in the background, for example, I have some photos behind me. If you look very closely and things just didn't look sharp enough or in focus the way a camera would take it, blurry or words that aren't real, that's another sign. In video, one of the most telling signs is actually if you look at the person's chin. When generated video comes out, it's difficult to do the shadow. And so you see this kind of merging of somebody's chin into their neck. So that can be a telltale sign. And people have to look very closely, but it's quite clear once you see it that this is not an actual video recording, that it's something else.
It's always a little bit creepy when you make that realization. Are there any resources for debunking possible deep fakes? I mean, Amy's reminding me our job is going to be harder this election cycle.
Well, the best thing to do is that when an actual candidate goes on stage and gives a speech, there's going to be multiple sources of that. There will be people in the audience, lots of journalists, lots of photographers. And so you should be able to find the exact same thing from multiple angles. deep fakes are quite computationally intense to generate, so you won't find the same speech from 15 different angles, for instance. So you should go and check multiple sources. That's a very good way to do it. Obviously, you both are in the profession of journalism, so you're going to produce the speech as you heard it, and your peers will as well. So we should check sources of truth from other outlets, different media sources, and just make sure that we're hearing a similar cohesive message.
Right. Tyler Merritt, very good information. We appreciate your time this morning. The old phrase that pictures don't lie is no longer true. So we appreciate you helping us identify what's real and what's not.